So the controversy about Heather.
So I'm going to give you a very brief overview of Heather Has Two Mommies. I wrote it in 1988. Nobody would publish it. So a friend of mine named Sylvia Gover, who was raising her daughter with another woman, and I decided that we would publish the book together. We raised $4,000 in $10 donations. We printed 4,000 copies of the book, and about 6 months later, Allison Books bought the book from us, and then it went on and had its life. And so at that time, Sasha Allison started advertising the book, and people started hearing about it outside the community, and some people were thrilled, and some people were not so thrilled. So the book has been burned, defecated on, stolen, brought back to the library with its pages glued shut. It's been at the center of various ACLU freedom of speech debates. It was read on the Senate floor. I think it's probably the only book that's actually part of the congressional record. It's really had quite a little life. So when it started being challenged and protested, I was really naive, so I had no idea. I mean, I thought this little book that I wrote that nobody wanted to publish, who's going to care? You know, who cares about lesbian moms? But what I learned is that people feel really protective of their children and really want to shelter them and really want to control what influences their children. And many people thought if their kid read Heather Has Two Mommies even once, they were going to, horror of horrors, grow up to be lesbian or gay. And that would be a terrible thing, was the implication, of course. So, of course, I don't think it's terrible to grow up to be gay. I think it's more important, whether you're gay or straight, to grow up to be happy, whatever would make you happy. And I pointed out to people over and over that I read thousands of books when I was a kid. I would say 99.9% of them were about heterosexual people. And not one of those books changed my sexuality. So it's not going to happen. So I went from kind of shock to disbelief to being puzzled to being frustrated to being resigned. You know, I had all kinds of feelings, but basically what happened, all the protests against Heather Has Two Mommies inspired me to become an activist, which one could argue just writing the book Heather Has Two Mommies was a political act, and publishing it with my friend when nobody else would do that. I didn't really think of it that way. I think of myself as a writer and an artist and somebody who likes to tell stories, but I quickly learned that part of my job was to defend my book. And I think that was a really good thing to happen to me, because now I'm just a happy little activist. And I like to get up in the morning and cause trouble and hopefully change the world in a good way, a positive way, to make the world a safer place for all of us. That's really what I see my job as a writer, as an activist, as a human being. My work in the world is to make a tikkun olam, repair the world, make the world a safer place for everyone. I take that very seriously.